Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles. We're going to continue talking about some of those OG morphs and why I think they're important. This one I don't use as much as I did the first one we showed you, but I still think it's something that's good to have in your collection for a few reasons we're going to share with you today. And again, don't forget to click like, subscribe, go check out the Patreon, do all those things. Good time, right? So what are we talking about today? Well, today we are going to talk about the wonderful world of, where's the one I picked to show off? Right there. Mojave. Now this one it's in a little bit of a shed cycle right now, but it's still the one I chose because it has a really good Mojave pattern. This is 100% het desert ghost, so you can see it's also why I chose it. We are working at putting this into some more of our projects to include trying to get some desert ghosts in the Mojave. So what makes these things so great? Well, by themselves, they're a part of the lesser complex, or the bell complex. We should start with that, okay? So if you mix this with the bell, you're going to get an all-white snake. We'll show you what that can look like with this version. It is not my favorite way to make an all-white snake. It's not truly all-white. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about in a few minutes. And they don't have as much pop from a color as a lesser does. So for me, lesser's probably more my favorite than Mojave. However, I really like some of the things a Mojave can do that lesser can't. I don't currently have a Mojave JHI. We did have one, but unfortunately we lost that. So a Mojave JHI is probably one of the best uses for Mojave in the world, I think. I like it better than Mojave lesser. But again, to each their own. Kurt would prefer Mojave lesser. Caleb would prefer Mojave lesser. I'm the one that likes Mojave JHI. If I want to get some of that lesser look, but I don't want to lighten the snake as much, that's where Mojave comes in. It can be really awesome. So let me put this one back. Oh, I know. Captain Hissy Pants. You're fine. And let's show you some of the things that it can do. The first one we want to show you is just a straight up super Mojave. So if you go Mojave to Mojave, you're going to get something that looks just like this. This is a super Mojave bell. It's an all white snake with a gray head. I say white with quotation marks because when you compare it to something like, oh, I don't know, if I got one laying around. No, you're in a bad mood. Having a little bit of a rough shed here, but that's okay. We can still accomplish. You can see the difference in how much white it is. Totally different animals, right? Totally different colors. One super lesser, solid white. Super Mojave kind of turns into that. Oh man, I better apologize to my mama before I say this, but this is what I call smoker's white. If you were a kid that grew up like I did in a house full of people who smoked, yep, talking about you, mama. Thank God she quit though. You know, white didn't stay white, it kind of turned yellowish, right? So this is like white paint in a smoker's house, kind of that smoker's white. But some people like that little pop of color. The gray head looks nice. You don't have to worry about bug eyes with these. So they're really, really cool. So they're an awesome animal to have. Super Mojave is a great thing. We have it because we want to pair it with a few other things, namely a Mystic Potion, because the Mystic Potion is another part that's a lilac in here, which is a Mystic Mojave. I'll show you one of those right now. And this, to me, is where Mojave really shines, right? This is just, these are just awesome. Only way to get to that is you can do Mystic Mojave. You got to have the Mojave. You can skip the Mystic, and there's another gene you can use instead of the Mystic, but you cannot get here if you don't have Mojave. So Mojave is the absolute key to make this Mystic Potion. They're just great. And again, never make a normal, and you get that really kind of bruise color purple. These things just are phenomenally cool. All right, I love this animal. We have yet to be able to reproduce it. The goal is to raise that super Mojave up, breed this boy to it, so then we can get guaranteed results, right? Half the babies in that case would be super Mojave. The other half would be Mystic Potions, because this has to pass on Mystic or Mojave. And, of course, the super Mojave has to pass on Mojave. So that is another way you can really use that gene and do some awesome stuff. Now, I'll show you one more. These things go amazing when you start working things like Blitz. Blitz in the bell complex is phenomenal. It's through the roof. Whoa, hi, buddy. Shouldn't say buddy. Hi, girlfriend. Come on. And this is where Mojave shines, okay? This is a simple 2-gene snake. All we've got in here is Mojave and Blitz. Now, when I say Blitz, remember Blitz, Hurricane, and Trick. It's all the same shit. There is a lot of difference in individuals and holding back and properly line breeding and properly selecting your breeders when you work with that, whether it's Trick, Blitz, or Hurricane, is of vast importance. And obviously we work with a really, really, really nice line, so we're going to get really, really, really nice results. And that's what you're seeing here. The colors, phenomenal. The snake has good size. It's held the colors. The pattern is beautiful. It really doesn't get much better than this. This is probably one of this and Mystic Potions, to me, are the best use of Mojave, as well as GHI. Mojave is something that, like I say, you're going to get that pattern. You're going to get that contrast. You're just going to be a little bit darker. That's what's bringing out this nice yellow and darkening up that Blitz. To kind of give you an idea of the difference, if we didn't have the Mojave in there, this is what we'd be dealing with, right? Straight Blitz versus a Mojave Blitz. So again, all this crazy patterning, Blitz is loaning that to the Mojave. The Mojave is bringing in that color. Look how much more vibrant this is, right? And again, this isn't a new gene. This, call it Hurricane if you want, and then people will spend stupid money on it because they don't understand it's the same shit. Genetically tested and proven to be the same thing. So let's call this Hurricane for just a second, even though we're going to still call it Blitz. And all of a sudden the value is there. But look at how much a simple gene like Mojave adds to this snake. This is an OG gene, been around for 1,000 years. Nothing spectacular here, right? Nothing new, nothing earth-shattering. But my God, it does. If you can't tell me if this is laying there and this is laying there, you wouldn't be willing to pay more for this. Absolutely, it's worth more than the sum of its parts, and it's going to help you move your line of stuff because it's wonderful in there. So I personally like Mojave. Are there other things you can do with it that we haven't done? Yeah. Caleb, what would be something else you throw Mojave into? Put him on the spot. He ain't been paying attention. He's been working. He's like, what the hell, you already talked about? Why do you do this shit to me? What would you put it to?
Mojave?
Yeah.
Xanthic maybe? Because they have a lot of yellow on them. You get some nice contrast because there's some brown there that might keep that black a little darker.
No, yeah, I don't think Mojave Xanthics by themselves would be the way I'd go. No. But when you add that other gene in there, Pastave would be nice. This would be nice in Xanthic, which is that Mojave Blitz, right? So, yeah.
Oh, probably Ghost, because lesser ghosts are pretty nice. I'm going to guess Bell and Ghost complex stuff go really well together, so Mojave and Ghost probably.
We do really like lesser Ghost, but if you put the Mojave in it, because the Mojave is darker, I think you're going to get better contrast. Yeah. You're going to get that same cool washed out feel with a higher contrast in the colors. So yeah, that would be pretty dope. Kurt, what would you want to see out of the Mojave?
I think Champagne.
Champagne Mojave?
It'd look amazing.
So for those of you that don't know, Kurt's smiling and being an asshole right now. So what would you really want to add to Mojave?
Probably Orange Dream.
That would be all right too, because you know what would be really phenomenal? I think if you could do a GHI Orange Dream Mojave. Because I really like her GHI Orange Dream we're raising up. She's amazing. The colors are great. This would crank that color up and crank that contrast up 100%. So you'd get that cool GHI Mojave, which is really, really dark, and that Orange Dream would blast those colors up a notch without overwashing it like Pastel tends to do in that, and it would be fucking phenomenal. So I do like that a lot, actually. All right, anything you want to add? Do you think Mojave is something people should have in their collection?
Yep.
Caleb, Mojave something you should have? Yeah. Again, not a cornerstone, right? If you're trying to run your business solely on Mojave, you're going to be disappointed. But can you make really cool, really killer, really pretty snakes with it like this? Yeah. Yeah, you can. So therefore you need it, right? Now, as we go through these OG morphs, one thing I want you to think about, because I'm going to tell you need all this shit. Depends on the size of your collection, right? If you're only running 15 snakes, you probably don't need every single OG morph out there. Probably don't. If you're running 45, 50 snakes, you probably should have it through your collection. You probably should have Mojave in there. You should have Pastel in there. You should have the pinstripes of the world and the bananas in the world in there. If you're running 10 or 15, you should have some of those. And you're going to have to pick and choose the ones that you want. Oh, it all depends on the size. Us, we're running a couple hundred, so, we probably should have a pretty wide variety, including all the OGs. Let me put this one back up. and we will catch you all later.